All right, this is Mike Merlin Means, Merlin Public Media, and tonight we have another episode of Talking Shit with Merlin, which by all accounts appears to be our most popular show. So here with me tonight is...
Brett Strickler. How's it going, Mike?
Pretty good, man, and we're going to be talking some shit.
Absolutely. Always good talking shit with you.
Well, yeah, and I like that. I like that when we have the time to do it, and we fight through the technological shit to get to the shit. So
yeah. it's a never ending adventure on my end, man.
I know it's love-hate relationship. You know, I love my computers and I hate my computers. And
yeah, one of my favorite sayings is technology is great when it works, but if it worked all the time, I wouldn't have a job. So
well, there's that. Yes. So, and we wouldn't want you not to have a job. So
definitely.
Apparently, we're just going to let it continue to fuck up.
That's all right.
When and how it. So before we started recording, we were talking some technology shit, and you were trying to introduce me to some concepts other than Skype that I could record this over. So
yeah, throw
some stuff at me.
So one of the ones I've used a lot is Discord, for talking back and forth with friends. It's a real powerful program. You can get multiple people. You can do video and audio. It just takes a little bit more setup. You got to get something called Discord Buddy, or something like that, and it'll let you record that way, or you can use set up Audacity on your computer,
right,
and you can record it through Audacity. Just adds another step to the process.
Okay, so I could drop it into Audition or anything else that I have.
Yeah, anything that can import sounds. Yeah, it's just another pretty prolific chat program.
Cool.
A lot of gamers use it. A lot of YouTube personalities have their own, and a lot of podcasters too have their own. It's probably just for the dog in the background. Have their own Discord channels.
So the stores and people can play back and listen there as well.
You can link to where you've got playback. I think the other one that I've used that I know has native with that is Twitch. And you live stream straight out on Twitch.
Really?
Yeah. And it's all native. It's free. It's awesome, man. You can monetize it. It's a really powerful, really cool thing.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah.
Somebody I recently interviewed that is a gamer. In fact, he within the last year became an alpha tester, and I feel sorry for his computers, but
I can imagine. He'd probably get hell of a workout.
Yeah, but he recommended, what the hell was it? Was that Twitch you just said? Yeah, he recommended that. He actually said that I could probably stream the radio station through it and have a conversation in the foreground.
Absolutely. Yeah, you totally could do that. You could run it 24/7 on there. You could even have you could bring on guests. You could have probably have guest DJs come on. That would make it really easy to collab with people too.
I'll have to look into that. It's
because we could sit here and do this live. You could do this live. You could, if you wanted to do audio and video, you could do that. And you can bring in live guests if you wanted to do an Ask the Audience segment kind of thing. All kinds of stuff.
So will it simultaneously broadcast to Facebook Live or YouTube Live, or?
I think there's ways you can do that. Yeah, I haven't explored it too much. It's still I'm still green behind the ears in that kind of respect. I just know that it's got a lot of different ways you can utilize it.
Well, that's kind of cool. I'm always looking for new technology that's not going to cramp an old mind.
Right.
Yeah, I remember when this program came out. We're on Skype, for those that don't know. I remember when this came out.
Oh yeah, Skype used to be hot shit, dude. But now Skype is like the old man in the room, dude. It's
Well, okay, that's me.
I mean, fair enough. It's going to be deprecated. I'm pretty sure it's going to be deprecated pretty soon.
And we're going to have to look for other stuff. So anybody listening,
definitely,
if you have a preferred combo conversation recording platform that you like, drop me a note. I'll check them out and see where we can go from there. So you were freezing your ass off a couple days ago. How's it going?
It was 59 degrees today, and all the snow's melted except for in a couple areas in New York. So that's how it's going.
Wow.
Yeah, we got what was it, last Thursday? It was down to we got 3 inches of snow, and it was down to negative 15 with a negative 35 wind chill.
Jesus Christ.
That hurts your face.
Yeah.
That's a hurt your face cold.
Oh, man.
We were literally colder than Siberia, Russia.
Well, you heard what they did last summer. They hit 108.
They were up there with you guys, man. That was crazy.
Well, we were kind of looking at, well, that's still kind of cool to us. But
right. Yeah, you're 115, 117.
This year, for the first time since I've been out here, we didn't break 120.
Wow. That's crazy hot. I've been at the highest temp I've hit I was working on Nellis Air Force Base back in about 2009. I think it was 115 on the ramp in the shade. On top of so we had jets come back from the flight ops, and I knew they were too hot to get on them and do anything with them.
Right.
And my lead was telling me, you got to get on there. You got to get on there. I was like, fuck you, dude. The surface of that jet's like 150 degrees. He's like, no, it's not. I was like, give me a thermometer. Grab me one of those infrared thermometers. 154 degrees.
Yeah, gonna pass on that.
I was like, yeah, pull that motherfucker in a hangar and get a swamp cooler blowing on it. I'll come talk to you in an hour and a half.
Really? No shit.
Yeah, and an hour and a half later, the surface temperature was still 90 degrees.
Well, that's not awful.
No, but when an hour and a half to drop. Yeah,
what was that?
40 degrees, 60 degrees. Yeah, with giant, like, when I say a swamp cooler, those big giant 6 foot tall industrial swamp coolers.
Oh, yeah.
2 of those blowing across the entire airplane.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was intense, dude. That I don't miss that job at all.
No doubt. I mean, I've seen 128 on my back porch in shade. That was about 3 years ago. Yeah. Thank God for solar panels, so my AC bill would be unaffordable.
No doubt.
But
you get some geothermal cooling going on there, man. We have discussed that the hard part is going to be, everything out here is on a slab. Yeah, you got to drill a well down and do it that way.
If we go down, I used to know the exact, like 28 inches. You're in basically at 28 inches, give or take 3 foot. The temperature just doesn't change.
Yeah.
And out my backyard, clear to the back of the yard, which is not all that far, there's a 30-degree drop into like a drainage area.
Yeah, I remember. I've been out there.
And we just drill right to that and cover the end of it and just let that cycle itself through. And
there you go. Yeah, I've got with the 7.5 acres we've got out back. It's we got plenty of surface level we could dig up and put it down, but just gotta get the money to do that first.
That's everything, isn't it?
Yep, almighty dollar, man.
Yeah. The what was that meme I saw the other day? Something about I think it's from It's a Wonderful Life. The reason it hasn't aged is it still takes a working man forever to save $5,000.
Yeah.
And, now my bank account hasn't been that big in a number of years. I haven't gone NSF, but I've been like, oh, please, I got to get some money in there before like Tuesday or I'm screwed.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that. I'm thankful to be well out of those times. Or, well, not well out at this point, but we're out enough that we're got a little bit of cushion in the bank, and we're all right for the moment. But
I say all it takes is one emergency, and the average American is in bankruptcy.
Well, Britt lost her job a month ago now. We were actually supposed to be out seeing you. We were supposed to be out doing this in person a week ago.
I know, man. I know. That'd have been so cool.
That would have been cool, man. But after that happened, it just kind of put the kibosh on everything, and rearranged our priorities.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
So, but
and we now have our grandson living with us, which is really kind of cool.
It's awesome, man.
More energy than I ever remember having, but
yeah, funny how that works, huh?
But he's a good kid. I mean, he really is. He's a good kid. I mean, you got problems here and there, but for the most part,
everybody does, brother. Yeah, everybody does. We all do. Ain't nobody perfect.
And he looks out for grandma and grandpa like, did you take your meds this morning?
Good.
Oops.
Good. Hey, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's a way he's showing you love, man. I like to see that. I like to hear
me
that.
Too. I appreciate having him here. It was kind of like, I'm 63 and a 14-year-old was moving in, and you know what? Best decision we've made in a large number of years. So
that's awesome to hear.
I'm happy with the whole thing.
Good.
So other the English, Mike. Other common ideas we share is gardening / permaculture.
Yes.
I can't tell you. Most people I know are not into it, and when I found out you guys were into it, that just made my week.
I'm so excited to get really, truly get started this year, because it was just a giant clusterfuck with the house. It took us almost 9 months to finally close.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God, dude, that was a fucking headache. But all I gotta say
you were already in before you closed, weren't you?
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, it's a whole long story, but basically some corporate jack off was trying to fuck around, and he fucked around and found out that we weren't going anywhere, and we came out on top. So
that's the important part.
We overcame some corporate bullshit. So, and we saved 7.5 acres of land from being developed by some fuckhead. So
there you go. Complete win. I mean, that's a win all the way around, man.
Absolutely, man.
And I'm sure your neighbors are happy with all of that shit too.
Hell yeah, dude. We've got some amazing neighbors. I mean, truly, the folks across the street are real chill. They're retired folks. Next door, I got it's a young couple with some kids, and they're kind of, they're like us. They're that. Like I like to say, they're the right kind of crunchy, the right amount of crunchy.
Yeah.
We're all kind of the let's decentralize our goods, our foods, and get it back into our control, because the COVID really truly showed us how weak our system is.
Yeah.
The linchpins are god awful.
Well, in the middle of that, we were trying to order some seeds. Good goddamn luck. Because everybody else that had never gardened before was ordering seeds.
Yeah. Man, and I'll tell you, right at the beginning of COVID, I built a computer
We'll talk about having low parts for the last year and a half. I built a computer at the beginning of COVID. Okay, bought brand new motherboard, processor, RAM, and a video card. Spent less than $600. Now to build an equivalent computer, I can't touch it for less than $9.
Yeah,
like it's insane, dude. It's insane.
Well, again, everybody else went out and kids were buying computers to go to school, and parents were buying, and adults were buying computers so that they could work. Oh, yeah. And just the shelves were just empty.
Yeah, and with all the shutdowns, having to shutting down on the manufacturing.
Yeah,
for a good 6 months, we didn't have full manufacturing capacity till almost a year later. So But I guess the good thing that came out of that is we saw is corporations started seeing, well, maybe we need to decentralize this shit. And now you're seeing a lot of fab factories open up here in the States. There's some opening up over in Europe. There's some opening up over in Israel, in places other than China and South Korea and Japan and the Asian countries. Yeah. Because they're realizing that hedging their bets on all in one area is not a good thing when you can literally wipe out half the planet's manufacturing capabilities in one fell swoop.
Well, and you go back to was it 1919 Spanish flu?
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very bad, but everybody had their little farms and everybody had their gardens and everybody had food. And everybody knew their neighbors, and I've got corn here, and can I have some beans? I'll give you some corn, and
yeah, there was bartering.
Yeah,
it's almost like we're not meant to live like we do, Mike.
I believe we're not on so many levels. I remember as a kid watching the early episodes of Star Trek. Okay. Mm-hmm. They would land on a quote unquote agricultural planet. Mm-hmm. And, people lived in a little house, and they had all their gardens and their food and their animals. And inside that house, they had access to all of the knowledge of the human race through the computer systems. And I'm going, wow, that's a way to live.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Problem is we don't anymore. We've complicated it so much because social media has given this pervasive narcissism through our society that is just like, I need to keep up with everybody else, and I need to get the nicest and latest and greatest of everything because, oh my God, FOMO, dude, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
It's so, social media has created just this capitalist monster, and people are starting to see it finally.
Yeah. It's taken a while.
Look at what happened with the metaverse.
Yeah.
It went right. Exactly. It went like sky high. And I called it from the beginning. I was like, this is going to be one of those pump and dumps, dude. This was for some tech bros to make a bunch of money real freaking quick, and a bunch of Wall Street types to make a bunch of money real quick. And then they jumped out. You notice the whole thing crashed and tanked. The same thing happened with, what are they? NFTs.
Oh God! I never understood that shit. I just didn't.
Me either. Crypto. I think crypto's going to stick for a while. It's going through kind of a winter right now, like people are saying, but it ain't going anywhere long term. Crypto's not a short term investment. Crypto's a long term. It took. How long did it take? Oh man, why is my brain blanking on the big one? I should know this. Bitcoin. How long did it take Bitcoin to get big?
Oh, years.
Exactly. It was a penny. It was, $1 a coin for how many years, and 10 cents a coin for how many years. My uncle tried to get me back get into it in 2011. And I was at the beginning, back when it was super cheap. But I told him, I was like, you're crazy. That's not going to do anything. Boy, am I eating my words.
But
one of my favorite stories along those lines was, and it's still with us, PayPal. People invested small fortunes and large fortunes into PayPal because they wanted to lose the money.
Yep.
They needed the tax break, and guess what? It's still ticking.
Yeah, go figure. We see, and that's the other thing is, the whole thing of this. We'll kind of skirt around the edges here. We need to on that, to kind of get back to where we were. We truly need to get back to decentralizing things as a whole. Things have become too centralized and they're too commercialized. And the beautiful thing that I've seen since moving here to Missouri is there's a lot of local food producers here, in all senses of the word. We've got fresh produce, we got fresh meats, we got fresh game meat I can get. I got fresh eggs I can get from neighbors. I don't even have to have any of this stuff. I don't have to have any of the infrastructure to support any of this stuff. I can just go to the farmer's market or jump on Facebook or whatever. And, I can get a whole beef for $1,600 plus butcher fees.
Ew.
You're talking $2,000 for a whole cow.
Yeah.
It's like 500 pounds of beef, dude. At $4 a pound,
and
$5 a pound,
you could imagine.
And it custom cut, and I get everything. It's not, and that's not just your major portions. That means I get the bones, I get all the organs, I get the offal meats, I get all the hide if I want it. I get the if I want the cow skull, I can get the skull.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's what's missing is we're so far removed from our food. It's people have forgotten where it comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And have lost that. People have lost that respect for food.
Start gardening, you'll get it quickly.
Because it's because of that pervasiveness of fast, quick, easy meals that started in the 50s after World War II, with the advent of the microwaves and the TV dinners and like mass canned foods and preservatives, and we started getting it, and you notice when we started getting health problems is when we started adding in all those kind of things.
Yeah.
And it's if there's something that I've learned in the last 5 years of really truly focusing on losing weight, at my heaviest, I was probably well north of 575.
Oh my God.
Okay. And I'm down to, at the doctor's office, fully clothed with shoes on, I was 412. So I'm probably right around 400.
Wow, man. That's excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was, I got that big as a product of my depression and anxiety and PTSD from growing up in an abusive, narcissistic household. And it took me until the age of 30 and a full-on mental breakdown to figure out that, hey, shit's not working.
Yeah.
This is obviously a fucking problem. So I made a decision to change, and it wasn't a lot. Wasn't doing a lot at first. I was just walking. I would walk, to the end of the building and back. I could barely do that. But now, we spent, 3 days walking around Chicago and I was fine. Where 7 years ago, I'd spent 4 days at Disney World, and by day 2, I was wiped out.
Yeah.
And now I can walk for hours and be fine. But I mean, not as long as I used to be able to. Not as long as I'll be able to when I lose another 200 pounds or 150 pounds. But I'm getting there.
That's it.
But,
you got to start before you can finish.
Exactly. And this has been it's been a hell of a process, and it's not been just any one thing that's done it. Everybody's looking for that magic pill, that magic diet, that magic whatever that's going to get the weight off quick. Now it's not going to happen. Okay. You didn't go on overnight. It's not going to come off overnight. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to stall. You're going to hit plateaus where you're just going to sit there. I've been sitting between 400 and 415 for about a year and a half. And I just recently started losing again because I've been, and I think about it and I'm like, well, what's been going on for the last year and a half? Well, I've been super stressed out because of the house thing and moving and then everything else. Now everything's finally settled down again. So my stress hormones are not through the roof.
Yeah.
The stress hormones are going to play a big factor in your weight too. If you're always running in that high cortisol levels, you gain weight.
Uh-huh.
So I'm noticing now my weight's starting to come down again. And it's not, and the other thing is it's not always the number on a scale that comes down either. I notice my clothes are fitting better.
Okay.
So I know I'm losing inches, but I'm not losing pounds because muscle weighs more than fat.
Right.
So I'm building muscle at the expense of fat, but it's at the same ratio.
And that's okay.
And that's okay for right now because what's going to happen is it's going to hit a balance, it's going to hit a tipping point, and then I'm going to lose 10, 15, 20 pounds all at once. And that's just how my body works. And that's how I know my body loses weight. And everybody, and people forget that everybody's body is different. You have to learn how your body loses weight. And there's no one magic diet that's going to be a fix-all for everybody.
No.
We do a combination of intermittent fasting, low carb, and keto. So we want.
What is keto? I've heard the word a billion times.
So we primarily practice what we call lazy keto. So keto is basically you go whole grains, you remove all grains and all sugars from your diet.
Okay.
So no flour, no gluten, no processed sugars. It's only natural sugars. So you use like a monk fruit sugar instead of wheat flour. We use like nut flours or oat flours or stuff like that. Use gluten-free flours, which I have to do anyways because I've got a wheat allergy. It's not celiac because it is. It's not like I can eat like fermented wheat. So I can have like a vodka. I can use soy sauces. I can do stuff like that. But if I have like anything with actual flour in it, like if I were to eat a regular pretzel or a regular donut, like I had this weekend, I had an apple fritter or a blueberry fritter because, I saw these ridiculous blueberry fritters at Hertz Donuts I'll send you a picture later. This thing was ridiculous. Literally an inch thick and bigger than as big as a dinner plate.
Holy shit.
10 inches across. Yeah, this thing was huge. I didn't eat it all in one sitting. Don't worry. We split it across four different two people across 4 different sittings. But it was fucking delicious. But I'm going to pay for it for a week.
Yeah.
But, I do that on occasion because it is what it is. You can't, and that's the thing with a diet. If you've got to give yourself some freedom with a diet. You've got to, because if you don't, you're not going to stick to it. If you want to have that, if you're on your diet and you want to have that piece of cake one day, maybe don't have an entire slice, but have a half a piece.
Yeah.
And let yourself have that little treat or have that piece of cake, but only have one, or have that cookie, but have, 3 or 4 cookies instead of a sleeve like you would have before.
Yeah. Broke ours on Christmas when we had ham for dinner.
Nice.
We haven't had red meats in, at least a decade.
Oh, wow.
But every once in a while, and it'll be things like, oh, hell, I really want some pastrami.
And turkey pastrami, I don't care what they're calling it.
It's not the same.
It is not. And, we had a spiral ham for Christmas, and it was absolutely delicious. And we made a pot of soup out of it, and then it's gone.
Yeah, we had a couple of steaks from a local butcher for Christmas dinner with some scalloped potatoes. It was really tasty. It's a really gorgeous, well-marbled steak. They were less than $10 a piece, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
but that's what happens when you live near it.
Well, right. But that's the thing, is that I bet you if you looked around, you could find a butcher that either is close to you or would deliver.
I think here would have to be deliver, but
you never know. There's a lot of cattle ranches out in the desert, Mike. West Texas is all desert.
Yeah, I may have to look.
Yeah, I would definitely check it out. I mean, I know you've got farmers markets out there.
We do, but
and the produce gets driven in from the valleys. So yeah. I mean, I would think that you would be able to get at least possibly get something.
It's possible. Gonna check into it. The farmers markets here are surprisingly good.
I believe it.
But
are they better in the winter or winter, spring, fall than they are in the summer?
Well, they don't even have them in the summer.
And it's so you guys are the opposite of here. We don't have them in the winter, but we have them spring through fall.
Exactly.
Because, you can't grow anything when there's 3 inches of snow and it's -35.
Yeah, and we've already got our first 2 waves of planting in for this year.
Yeah, and we're in infrastructure planning and building phase right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think the next step is to get another Hugelhutzer race bed going.
Those things are amazing.
Man, I'm excited. So I have my neighbor across the street had a big brush pile that he was trying to get rid of that he was going to pay somebody. I was like, "Oh man, I'll come take care of it. We'll come take it out."
Uh-huh.
And it was all like just this it's been sitting there for a year, so it was in a pile and moist and dark and damp, so it's all kind of rotted and kind of moldy and spongy already. I'm like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for. And we had a bunch of dead branches that we cut off the trees in the front that we just piled up, and I'm like, why am I gonna burn this stuff? I'm just gonna fill these boxes with it. And we filled up one of the boxes, filled about halfway up with that. We then put a bunch of, we raked up a couple cartfuls of leaves, threw them in there. I raked up a cart full of, we then took took about a half a cartload of soil and a couple of the grow bags that we had soil in from last year. Went ahead and dumped those in there to kind of top it off, and then we topped it with some about 3 inches of pine needles, so that way it'll. Because I got pine trees right out front, so I got free pine mulch, man. It's great, and it's just sitting out there now. I need to add about another 5-6 inches worth of dirt on top of it.
Yeah,
but it's starting.
Right. It's already working.
It's already working, and I've got a tarp on top of the pine needles to kind of keep it a little bit warmer, and to keep the sun off of it, and encourage the worms to come up and do their thing, man, and the bugs and the mycorrhiza and all that wonderful stuff.
And then there's all that carbon you've managed to keep from going into the atmosphere.
Yes. Sequestered it back into the earth.
Yeah, and that's we're running out of places to actually put them. They're different here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't work quite as well as in a moist environment. But we have tons of wood we've sequestered.
Yeah.
Underneath, and there's a few places, like a couple places, we have trees growing on top of them, and when we started doing that, people were like, "What's a hugel culture?" Like, well, if you got 10 minutes, I'll explain. No, it's okay.
Yeah, but now what's awesome is because of the permaculture movement and folks like Joel Salatin and Justin Rhodes and Justin I was watching one of his videos. When he built his raised beds for his wife, he used a hugelkultur method without knowing. I think he didn't realize it at the time because he filled the bottom with sticks.
Mhm.
And then he just put 6 inches of dirt in top of it. And it worked great. And they've got so much production out of those beds, man.
Being old, we have moved a lot of things into what are they called? Grow pouches.
Uh-huh.
And it raises about 18, 20 inches, and bending over for any length of time is not good for either me or Juanita.
Right.
But we've got grow pouches and raised beds, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 wicking beds, which are really cool here. Are you familiar with those?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so you take a container, whatever shape you want, and what you need in the top, let's go to that first. You need 12 inches of grow medium on the top. Okay, so you take this container and you line it with pond liner.
Okay.
So it's watertight.
Uh-huh.
And then we use the plastic sewer pipe.
Okay.
And we snake it through. And then
okay. Yeah. I've seen
cover the ends, and you put a feeder line and an overflow line.
Mm-hmm.
And it waters from the bottom.
I have seen those. Okay, I've heard them called a few different things, but yeah, we haven't looked into that side yet because we thankfully got so much land
and free water.
Yes, yeah.
The thing about this is, you have to top water when you put in seeds because the water gets to approximately 1 inch to 1/2 inch from the surface.
Okay.
It goes no higher.
That makes sense.
And it's basically, you've got a cloth layer on top of that tank sewer tube thing, and you tuck it down in and you fill it. And the water just literally wicks up into the bottom and heads toward the surface.
Interesting. Huh.
Now, Juanita added a new little toy to all of this stuff. Started working on it about 2 weeks ago. You guys have worms.
Uh-huh.
We bought worms.
Okay.
And there's these things. It's called a
vermicomposter
tower.
Yes, I want to get some.
And you just stick it down in the ground, and you start with your worms in there, and you put your compostable vegetable material in there, so long as it's not acidic.
Right.
The worms come up there and they eat, and then they go back and they basically put worm castings throughout the entire bed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing.
In the summer here, they'll go low and stay there.
Yeah.
And in the winter, they're bloody everywhere. We bought, I don't remember, maybe just shy of 2,000.
Wow.
And, we've got, let's see, 1, 2, about 16 beds to distribute them. So we put them in the, well, for a better word, neediest of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they come up to feed, because they know that's where their food is going to be, if you want to move them to another bed, you reach in, you grab a handful, you put them in a bucket, you take them to the next bed, you put them in there. And here's the thing that kind of freaked me out, and I didn't understand, and it was like, my question was, well, what about population control? Are you going to have to? No. They actually, when the population starts to become too dense, they start producing unfertilized eggs.
Interesting. Huh.
And then, and all the time they're dying off. So, they, according to everything she's read, they will keep the balance.
That's cool.
I thought that was great because that was one of my concerns. Like, yeah, we're just gonna have this massive thing full of worms and we ain't gonna be able to do anything.
Right.
Not the case. So that was another selling point. Yeah, we had to go and buy them.
That's okay. And we had to go buy beneficial insects. We had to buy ladybugs and praying mantis.
Uh-huh. And we just have the praying mantis here all the time.
Right. Yeah, we had to go buy them because there was just so many aphids and stuff around here. And we're going to have to buy them for a few years, but
sure.
After that, eventually they're going to come back. There's honeybees. I know there's honeybee hive around here because they're all over our apple tree in the spring.
Oh, cool.
And so we're going to eventually, long term, we are going to get a beehive. But what we're going to do is we've got right now the whole backfield is all fescue.
Okay.
So we're going to burn it. We're going to sequentially burn the fields every year, and turn it back into wildflower fields and native grasslands.
Yeah, that's great. And again, that's something you can do that I can't.
Right.
Because our soil pH just will not handle ash.
What's amazing is, and that's the thing is out here in the plains, fire is critical. Fire is a crucial part of the ecosystem out here, and making sure that it's maintained and we've removed fire.
Yeah.
And
fire bad.
That's right. And that's been our thing for the last 80 years is fire bad, fire bad. Well, look at all these crazy ass forest fires.
Yep.
It's happening because we're getting all it's not burning out the stuff that normally would get burned out every year.
Yep.
Or every 3 years. So your canopies or your understory is just loaded with fuel.
Yep.
So when these fires do run through, you're not getting this low cool fire like you're supposed to get that these big trees can survive. You're getting that like the redwoods. They're a fire dependent, fire adapted species.
Yes, they are. Most people don't know that.
And we've removed the fire from it, so they don't grow anymore. They're not as prolific as they used to be, but they also grow really slow. So, but we've removed the fire, so when it comes through, it kills them, and it burns the trunks completely instead of just scorching it lightly, and getting rid of the invasive stuff that does burn.
And once you nuke that cambium layer, it's over.
It's over. It's over. Like we've got so many. It's so sad. We've got so many calorie pears out here. So many Bradford pear trees. It's just, it's awful. We've already cut down one this year. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna get some herbicide in the spring and spread it on the stumps. But
there is. Hang on. Let me think.
These are
there
20 foot tall.
There's there is a naturopathic thing you can apply to those stumps that doesn't put any bullshit in the ground.
Man, at this point,
I can't remember what it is.
There's so many of them. There's so many of these pear trees. We need something that's going to be a little bit more aggressive. It's more aggressive. They're so big. We're going to have to use herbicides on a sparing basis around here because there's Japanese holly everywhere. There's Japanese honeysuckle. There's just all kinds of invasive things around here we got to get rid of.
Huh.
And it's going to be a project. It's going to be a long-term project. It's this is the piece of property we got's been kind of
better lack of a better term, was kind of just neglected because the gentleman who owned the property was in his late 80s. So, 7.5 acres, that's a lot of property for anybody to maintain, let alone somebody in their 80s.
Yeah.
So, it needs it needed a little love, but that's why we got a good deal on it. Nobody else wanted it.
That's the whole thing about permaculture. The process is literally defined. You start out with, in most places, trees, and then you go.
Mm-hmm. And then luckily we've got 5.5, I think of the 7.5 acres that we've got, at least 5.5 is open field.
Nice.
So we've got about 1.5 acres, we've got two patches of trees what I call forest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is about a 1/2 acre triangle at the back corner, and one of them is probably about 1 acre and a half little grove right by our pond. We got a little probably 1/2 acre pond.
Oh, nice.
Acre pond.
You gonna stock it?
It's spring fed and stocked already.
Oh yes.
I don't know with what. I know there's some bluegill in there for sure. We got some last year and little sunfish. But we're probably gonna might get some trout this year to try and get some fish in there, get some bigger fish, and get something we can eat out of it.
Exactly that.
Have another food source, man.
Oh yeah.
But one thing I've noticed last summer. So we moved in here at the end of September, beginning of October in 21. So just at the end of summer, we came out here in the middle of summer to put an offer in the house, and there was fireflies, but not like a crazy amount, not like I remember in my childhood, man. You remember growing up in the Midwest.
Oh
man.
yeah,
you grew up in Ohio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Man.
You know what I'm talking about. The
Yep.
summer nights sitting out back, and they're just, you look out and it's just a sea of yellow blinking lightning bugs.
Oh yeah, it's glorious.
This year, that happened because I stopped, because they were mowing the lawn so low. And they were cutting the hay, and I just let it go.
Yeah.
I let it go. All of our up to close to the house, I keep it down at like 4.5 inches.
Okay.
Where the dogs are, because, and where we're at, because dogs. And I like to have, grass that's a little bit, that's not 2 inches tall, but I also don't like walking through, ankle length grass. Because ticks, and I'm in Missouri.
Uh-huh.
So so the acre right around the house is down about 4 inches. And then after that, I do jump it up to about 5. And then I let it go to about 6 inches up by the house and about 8 inches out in the field before I cut it. And then most of the field, I just let go wild this year. I didn't cut it at all. And we had more lightning bugs than I ever remember seeing ever.
That's wonderful. That again, people are afraid of, or grossed out by, or don't understand insects.
Yeah. Oh man, we need them. And we've lost so many of our pollinators.
Oh God, yes.
I did see some amazing news though. The monarch population this year has exploded.
I was just going to say that.
Holy shit, dude!
That made my day when I saw that.
So I had the privilege of, in the late 90s, early 2000s, going to Pismo Beach and going to the butterfly preserve in the summer.
Oh,
in the winter, in their wintering months, like I think it was like February or March. Oh my God, dude! I've never seen so many butterflies in my life. That was amazing. And like, to hear that there was 4 located there one year, that literally broke my heart.
Uh-huh.
That killed me, dude. I was just like, because I remember seeing just mass, just everywhere you looked, everywhere they were just everywhere.
And
it was beautiful.
We are on their migration path.
Uh-huh.
So we see them going south and coming back north.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years ago, I saw 2. I haven't seen any yet this year, but they're not heading back our way yet.
No, not yet.
But yeah, that just, I had my grandmother purchased this like book club thing for me when I was young. And my favorite book amongst them was called Monarch X, and it was about his travels.
Nice.
And immediately became my favorite butterfly. And, I saw them here twice a year, and then, you got to look for them. And now that they're coming back, I mean, yes, thank you.
Man, we had and along the lightning bug convo, and the pollinators, we've had so many more butterflies this year since we let the field go, because there's like 5 or 6 different types of milkweed just growing wild out of my property. Dude, like there was orange, white, there was a yellow milkweed. I like it was all kinds of fun colors, and I was just like, oh, this is amazing. We had some I found some what's the one that's nature's toilet paper? Starts with a C. Big wide leaves. Big white mullein or mullein.
Oh yeah.
Not a C and M. Sorry.
That's a great herb too.
Yeah, I got. We had a couple of wild ones growing just out in the field. Just happened to find it and looked over and was like, that's mowing the lawn, and was like, yeah, that's some mullein there. Awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
the milkweed, the root of the common milkweed is known to herbalists as pleurisy root.
Really?
I take that for my lungs every day. We buy we have to, grow it here. We've tried, it's failed. But we buy the dried root and we make a tincture out of it, 3 months in an alcohol solution, strain it off. And when I don't take it, I know, even one day.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Well, I forget who, somebody famous way the hell back said, for every ailment a human can have, there is a plant.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And it, I've got to find something that's herbal wise that'll do like an anti-arrhythmia type.
Yeah. So does Juanita. We haven't found it yet.
Yeah, I'm still looking, but in the meantime, I'll stick with my pharmaceuticals. Is the one pharmaceutical I usually take. But
I take 2 a day right now. One is prednisone, and that again helps me with the IPF, and the other one is an inhaler for the same purpose.
Makes sense.
But everybody my age is supposed to be taking a baby aspirin every day, right?
Right.
White willow bark.
Okay.
Willow bark was the original pre-lab aspirin.
Huh.
So we make a tincture of white willow bark. There you go. And I'm not putting any chemicals or bullshit into my system, but a tincture of the willow bark.
That's awesome.
Juanita has just been amazing with doing the research for all of this. And, right now we have calendula in the ground for calendula oil. Our chamomile should start coming through the ground any day now. And then feverfew is migraine meds.
Yep, we've got that. I know I know I told you we had talked a couple of days ago. We went up to Baker Creek Seed Company up here. So we live about an hour. I live about an hour and a half from there. And we went up for their fall festival last year, and we legitimately spent probably $250, $300 in seeds.
Easy.
And that was on their sale, and it was like. It was amazing just to see and we didn't get everything that we wanted. Like there's more, like their selection was just ungodly, dude. I'm just like, it was overwhelming the amount of seed that there was and variety, but their demonstration gardens. Oh my gosh, dude. If y'all ever make it out here, truthfully, we will go up there, and their demonstration gardens are gorgeous. They're absolutely amazing.
Now, if I remember correctly, they are mostly heritage plants.
Yes.
So you can save your own seeds, which,
Sure.
come on, people, do this.
Yes, please. We need, it's if you're gonna plant seeds, don't buy the burpee stuff. If that's
for
what
God's
buy
sake,
buy what you can afford. Okay, let me say this. Let me get this out there. Buy what you can afford first and foremost.
True.
Okay. I will never, ever fault somebody for buying seed that they can afford. If that's the burpee seed, you get that. But if you can get the heirloom seeds, get the non-GMO, get all the, anything that you can from, if you can get the Baker Creek seed catalog, they have a free version. They've also got the $25 mega catalog, which has literally everything in it, which is worth the $25 if you're going to spend it.
It actually is. We have one.
We get one every year. Now, it's worth the money because these lines are dying, these lineages are dying.
Yeah.
And we're losing these heirloom varieties and because they don't keep, like the pawpaw. Have you ever had a pawpaw?
Yes.
I've never had a pawpaw in my life. You ever seen one in a grocery store?
No.
You ever seen one at a farmer's market?
No.
Me either. You want to know why? Because they have a very short window of ripeness. And that's it. They're ripe for about 2 or 3 days, and that's it. When they're ripe, they're ripe, and they're done. Yep. So you've got to get it right when it's ripe. So one of our goals is we're turning this place into a food forest.
Damn right.
And we're gonna have, we're gonna buy a couple of pecan trees. We're gonna buy some pawpaw trees. We're gonna buy, I've already got 4 or 5 maple trees around here. So we're making maple syrup next year. I've got walnut trees, or 3 or 4 walnut trees around here. So we're making walnuts. We're probably gonna make walnut syrup in the spring. I'm gonna get some, probably get some spiles.
I've never had that.
We'll buy some and send you some. It is the most intense flavored syrup I have ever had. You do not need much at all.
Is it made the same way by tapping its tap?
It's a much thinner syrup, and it's much sweeter.
Okay.
It's very similar to maple syrup, but it's a little bit goes a long way. We'll send y'all some. I think you would really like it.
I'll give it a try.
It's delicious. We were like you. I was like, I don't know. So I just got a little bottle of it, and that's all we need. Because I kid you not, you can get away with a tablespoon of it on an entire plate of pancakes.
Whoa!
Like it's strong. There, you would be almost better off mixing it with some maple syrup to kind of give it a different little flavor. But it's really good. It's just very, very intense, very pure flavor. I don't know how else to describe it. But
that's one I haven't even heard of. So yeah,
I hadn't either until we saw it again. Saw it at the farmer's market. Somebody had it in their booth, and we said, "What the hell? It's worth a try."
Yeah. Oh, it's anybody that's doing their best to get back to nature has my utter support. I don't know if I ever told you, my nephew has his PDC.
What's that?
Permaculture design certificate.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we might have to get in touch, get his information, have you get in touch with us, or have it get us in contact with him.
Well, he's got him and his girlfriend. I keep wanting to call him his wife, but they're not, But they bought a house in beside the park back in Youngstown, back in my old stomping grounds, and
Nice.
bought a greenhouse. And I mean, they worked for Amazon for most of a year. They bit the bullet. They also are kind of anti-Amazon like we are. But the hours were good, the pay was good, and the overtime was regular, and they worked their butts off, and they paid off their house in a year.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And now they're putting up a greenhouse in the spring. The front yard is going to be gardens. He says, "Fuck grass."
Hell yeah, brother.
And putting in, like you, the food forest, the food bearing trees, and he's just, and again, slow process.
Oh, dude, it is. And like, I had a friend of mine over here. He came out the weekend before Christmas, and I was showing him around. I showed him a couple of fruit trees that we planted. And he's like, "You're not going to get fruit for like 10 years." Like, I know. That's why I planted them now.
Yeah. If you don't
I'm planning for
you'll
5.
never get the
Right.
fruit.
That's why I'm planning for 5 years from now.
Yeah.
But I've already got an apple tree that's bearing fruit. I've got a peach tree that should have bared fruit last year, but it got a copper rust. So we've got to get we're going to get a fungicide this spring and spray it down real good so we don't lose blooms. I'm also gonna get some. It bloomed before the last frost.
Oh,
so
man.
I think that did that, and paired with the rust kind of did it in.
Mm-hmm.
So this year we're gonna get a frost blanket for it, and then also get a trim it up a little bit, make it look pretty, and hit it with the fungicide to kill the fungus. And maybe get some peaches this year.
What is it? 8 citrus trees last year.
Damn.
3 are in the ground. One's not going to go in the ground. And the other, we're waiting for spring to plant. And, that's in the way of fruit trees, citrus is about what we've got.
I mean, in the desert, that's about all you can grow.
Well, we can do a fruitless mulberry if we can get or not a fruitless mulberry, a Pakistani mulberry if we can get our hands on one.
Oh, I got 3 mulberry trees out here.
Yeah, well, this is a particular one that is will grow in the desert, hence gotcha. Pakistani.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's different here.
Yeah, the desert. Having lived in 3 different deserts, I lived in Tucson, lived in Vegas, and I lived in Palmdale, California.
Yeah,
and they're all 3 just slightly different. Mm-hmm. They're all high desert, but even with the different altitudes, it's each one has its different climate. Like Arizona, like Tucson, you can set your watch in the summer by the monsoons in the afternoon.
Yep.
But doesn't get like that in Vegas or Arizona or California.
No, and Juanita said that when she first moved here, they had plus or minus 4 p.m. monsoons during the summer.
Yeah,
and they slowly went away. But more blacktop, more. Mm-hmm. Heat holding, more. Mm-hmm. So now we are literally an urban heat island. Weather patterns come to us, hit that up, rising heat and go around.
Yep.
And how do you fix it? If every house in this town planted a tree.
Garden. Yeah, just a tree. Just a native tree.
Within
just plant a native fucking
we
tree.
Can bring them back.
Yeah. Plant a native tree. Plant a garden. Get these. So I'm going to send you a video. It's this guy in Tucson started this. He has basically started rainwater catchment in the
space between the street and the sidewalk.
Uh-huh.
And he's got these little like gardens, these water gardens that just hold this water and lets it soak into the ground, so it's not just running off. And he's got all this just natural local flora, just growing fauna, and there's just all kinds of just habitats for animals and wildlife, and just pollinators galore in the middle of Tucson in the city. And I'm like,
there's a lot of badass gardening going on in Tucson.
This dude is fucking amazing. I don't remember what his name is, but I'll send you the link later.
Okay.
And I think, if you guys could get a movement like that going out there, because all they did is they worked with the city to cut a hole in the curb to allow the water.
Oh my God, Juanita was telling me about this.
Yeah, they cut a hole in the curb.
Yeah.
And the water kind of gets redirected out into the plantings around the front yards on the street, and into like little swales, and it's amazing.
There are tricks.
Yes, and it's stuff that can be done that these housing developers can do.
Yeah.
And these HOAs can write into their bylaws. There's things that they can do and plants that they can use that are native plants that aren't going to destroy the local flora.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get into like what we're having here, where we've got all the Japanese honeysuckle that's invading all of our forests out here in Missouri. And you've got these invasive Bradford pear trees all over the country that are invading our forests. That these things are just awful. They don't bear fruit. They're very purely decoration. They're very purely ornamental. And if they get a certain height, they start shedding limbs, and the limbs start breaking off. And then you got a 20-foot tall limb that's 150 pounds, 250 pounds.
Yeah,
crashing down onto you or your house or your car.
When this was originally Juanita's mother's house, and all of the houses, the family had 3 houses here, but we moved in, I don't know, a millennia ago to help take care of her. I couldn't handle maintenance and everything on 2 houses. But one of the few things that would grow were eucalyptus trees.
That makes sense.
Now, you know that one of the nicknames for a eucalyptus tree?
I don't.
Widowmaker. There's this thing called sudden limb drop.
Yep. Oh.
It happens in the heat of the summer.
Because the water
massive
expands.
limb, you just hear this crack smash. Well, we're slowly taking them out. The one we've got, we cut it off at about 6 or 7 foot. And of course, it starts sending out shoots.
Of course.
So every 2 or 3 years, you cut them off and you have naturally grown stakes.
Huh.
So it's actually the concept. It comes from Japan, and I forget the tree.
Yes, I was just talking to Brittany about this. Literally, I shit you not. We was just talking about this method on the way home from shopping.
And if you get them young enough, you can weave them.
That's awesome.
The other thing we learned, which is not so cool, is eucalyptus leaves are allopathic.
What does that
they
mean?
Kill shit that's not eucalyptus.
It's like walnuts the same way.
Yep. The big one out this way is, give me a second, tamarisk, salt cedar.
Gotcha.
They hoard salt in the grounds around them, and nothing can grow in it.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they used to do what they called tammy whacking, just going out and killing baby tamarisks.
Huh.
But, I mean, what do you got around here? I mean, everybody but us has oleanders.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And try to kill one of those fuckers.
And mesquite trees.
See, I don't mind my mesquite trees.
What the fucking thorns, man? Jesus.
Yeah, that's
8-inch
absolutely right.
daggers that are on the fucking branches.
Yeah, and we had. Well, you've been out to the house. You remember that tree that stretched across the whole front of the house into the other two lots? Honey mesquite. Biggest thorns than any mesquite, but it's gone.
Yeah, I remember y'all had to take that out, what, a couple years back now?
Yeah, it's not been all that long, but yeah, those thorns, oh, yeah, you full on hiking boots, man, right through it into your foot.
Believe it. I believe it all day long.
Yeah, they're, we've got two new favorite trees, though. We are going moringa crazy. We just love moringas.
Okay. I have to look that one up really quick. I haven't seen that one.
Look it up. It basically likes to be chopped down once or twice a year and regrows like a weed. The leaves are used for juicing and such. They have a phenomenal concentration of, I believe, C and antioxidants and a bunch of other.
Yeah, I've seen these. Okay.
And,
I don't remember.
And then another. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right or not, but it's another, like a desert native. It's called a leucaena tree. And it's just a tall, wispy, beautiful tree that the bees happen to like.
That's awesome.
But, when you go to the mesquites, if you can buy a big enough machine to grind the seeds, mesquite flour is badass.
Oh, I can imagine.
But that grinder, you just can't buy your run-of-the-mill grinder. You need, like, the mother grinder.
Yeah. Need them old school cast iron grinders, man. Stone on stone turned by the fucking windmill.
Mesquite flour, it is so heavy and so dense.
I never would have thought to make flour from mesquite seeds, but I guess it and I'm sure that's a definitely sounds like a Native American flour.
It definitely is.
It's so crazy. I mean, and that's the other thing. We've taken this land and we've beaten it into fucking submission instead of listening to the people that were here for millennia before us.
Absolutely.
So it's about fucking time we started listening to these folks. And now that we've started listening to these folks, that's when this permaculture shit started coming back into play, because we started realizing that we've got to have a symbiosis with the land. We can't fucking just beat it into submission all the time, because eventually the land's going to give out, because we're on the precipice of another Dust Bowl right now.
That's right. And that was the most, that devastated this country.
Absolutely.
And it's going to happen again. It's,
dude, we're doomed to repeat ourselves. Absolutely. And it's, I can see it coming, but I can also see my generation and Gen Z have millennials and Gen Z have the younger side of the millennial generation. I'll say that.
That's my hope.
The those of us that were born like 86 onward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've seen the destruction firsthand. I remember reading about acid rain in my school books.
Yep, I remember being in it.
Right. I remember reading about acid rain. When's the last time you and I heard of acid rain, Mike?
Decades.
Exactly. I've never experienced it after the 90s, because we made a change. We can do it. Look at what happened during COVID. Yep. The world shut the fuck down for a month and a half and just sat fucking still. What happened? The skies cleared.
Yeah.
The skies in Mumbai, fucking India. You could see the Himalayas from India. The skies were so clear.
Yeah.
The dolphins were back in the fucking bays in Italy.
Yeah.
Like in Venice, they were swimming. There was dolphins in the canals in Venice. Like that hadn't happened since the 1900s, 1800s.
It didn't take that long.
It took 2 weeks.
Imagine if we did this all the time.
Dude, like I really think, I hope that we can, that the lesson outside of one of the lessons that we can take from COVID is we need to do something soon. And it's not going to take it doesn't have to be something as drastic as shutting everything the fuck down. Okay? Because that's never going to happen. Let's be real. The world still has to fucking turn.
Yeah.
Okay. But it can't keep turning how it is. We have to do better. We have to find a better way to do things. And there's a lot of companies out there right now that are doing a lot of good. There was a huge breakthrough just recently in fusion energy. They just had the first positive fusion reaction. They got more energy than they put into it.
Oh my God, I didn't hear this.
Really? Yeah, it finally happened. They confirmed it.
Oh.
It's been peer reviewed and it's confirmed.
See, that's the one that everybody's holding on to.
We're there. We're fucking there. It finally happened. They had first ignition. This just happened like 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh my God. I'm going to look this up when I get off of here.
It blew my mind because I was like, dude, I remember there was a video game. I vividly remember this in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s that I got for your computer that my dad downloaded, that literally you sat there and you played with a tokamak and you played with the little settings on it to try to get it to like a virtual one to play with it. And you were doing research for the scientists. You were using your computer to do compute power and send this stuff. It's the same thing that SETI at home was doing. It's the same thing.
I was a part of that for years. Folding
at Home does now. I'm a part of that.
What is that?
And that one is they do genome. It initially started as the Human Genome Project.
Okay.
And they were mapping the human genome. Now it's expanded to things like COVID-19. It was a huge when COVID came out. It was a huge push for they needed to map the proteins.
Yeah,
and figure out what it was. And what they did is it's basically they crowdsourced computing power from people, and they send out little pieces of a file and you decode the file. They use your computer power to decode the file and they send it back, and then you send it back and you get points on it. Mm-hmm. So, and it's just, I mean, your computer's sitting idle anyways.
Right.
So what the hell, why not?
Yeah.
You know, like right now, let me see, I'm pulling up my Folding at Home web client here. I am working on something. What project is this working on? It says Project 16996. This project simulates the folding dynamics of several variants of the TRP Cage Mini Pro designed by Niels Anderson's group. Particularly interested in comparing simulation results to high-quality NMR experimental data across many different sequences to assess the viability of simulation-based computational protein design.
Oh, geez.
I don't even know what that means.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm sitting there going. Okay.
But they're simulating proteins of some sort for medical reasons, mm-hmm. for medical uses. So I'm not using my computing power, my GPU, right, my graphics card right now.
Sure.
So this thing's using it to run computing. And
nice.
You know, it doesn't cost, it costs, pennies, mm-hmm. because the computer's already on and working anyways. So what the hell?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't remember what we were talking about, what got us there, but so welcome to my ADHD brain.
Yeah, well,
this whole episode has been this whole podcast has kind of been a squirrel moment here.
Well, and this is what I want this show to be. It's just, you start talking and you're going to find something that we've spent like a majority of the time in permaculture and gardening.
Yeah.
And, kind of worked our way out of it. I'm going to have to get off of here soon because my O2 is calling me.
Understood.
But let's do this again. This was
Absolutely,
a blast.
man. Absolutely, buddy. It's a lot of fun.
All right, then I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll be in touch with you through Facebook and whatever. And yeah, let's set this up and do it again, man.
Sounds good, my friend. Yeah, well, I'll probably have some more things to go on and talk about next time. I know got a new podcast in the works with
cool.
a mutual friend of ours, Paul Fix and Joe Burke. So it'll be a good time. We're
you got a topic, or are you just gonna?
We're still ironing that out. I'll have more details tomorrow night, actually. So we'll have more to talk about next time.
Sounds good, man. All right, you have a good night.
You too, buddy.
All right, man. Bye-bye.